Unified School District for November 15, 2016.
Good evening, Commissioners, Interim Superintendent Lee, Deputy Superintendent Guerrero, student delegates, and everyone in attendance tonight. This letter is being written in response to the comments that were made from numerous parents regarding African American and Latino students in the San Francisco Unified School District at the Board of Education meeting on November 1st, 2016. Whereas we can appreciate parents wanting what is best for their individual children or for those from similar backgrounds and acknowledge their right to express their point of view, however, denigrating others' children and improperly labeling other groups is never an acceptable approach to advocacy for their own. As an African American parent and the current co-chair of AAPAC, I was so offended and upset by the continuous parade of speakers who presented negative narratives about our children and families and their opposition to the adopted math sequence. As the only African American present, I was uncharacteristically speechless and too emotionally distraught to contribute to the conversation. I understand that comparative test scores depict some groups in a negative light, but our children represent so much more than test scores, and their academic performance relative to other groups does not give parents of those other groups the right to verbally bash the achievement level of students of any specific racial, ethnic, or socioeconomic group. The African American community in particular has overcome years of oppression and adversity, and while I will acknowledge that we have come a long way, we still have a long way to go to achieve parity with other more advantaged populations. In addition, it is the responsibility of the educational system to work diligently with us, not against us, to repair the harm that was and continues to be done to our community. We respect the fact that everyone has a right to express their beliefs about the legitimacy of approaches to instructional interventions. It is, however, insulting to hear the added negative rhetoric from parents who share the same goals and values for their children as we have for ours. Promote ideas that serve as yet another source of oppression. Some examples of explicit comments that specifically targeted our children were totally inappropriate. The African American and Latino students aren't doing better, they're doing worse. The Asian and white students shouldn't be punished for their counterparts' inability to learn. The higher performing cultures understand the importance of hard work, and that is why they are performing better. Just as important, or perhaps even more so, I was extremely disappointed that throughout this entire process, no one from the board nor administration felt compelled to deter these parents from expressing their divisive, implied, as well as explicit racist remarks. AAPAC has been charged with identifying institutional racism and implicit bias and bringing instances of it to the board's attention. It is my belief that to allow these comments to be the only voices resonating in the room without any response nor attempts to express opposition to them was a demonstration of the kind of microaggression and racism that our children experience on a daily basis, while others sit on the sidelines in silence. Though I understand that the meeting organizers saw their primary role as facilitators, silence is just as hurtful as the racist comments uttered. Such relentless negativity shouldn't be tolerated, not only because it is ugly and very hurtful, but because it also illustrates how far away we are in achieving equity in our school system. Parents within our various communities love their children and have the same aspirations for higher education for them, even if many are incapable of providing the level of support that the more advantaged can provide. It was unfortunate that there was no parents present who represented those underperforming students to hear how they were described and defend themselves and to challenge those who spew out their negative and hate-filled evaluations of our children. It's the home life. There's a problem at home for the students that are completely zoned out because they're either hungry or going through some sort of trauma at home. These parents are so disengaged by dumbing down the math sequence, you are hurting the achieving students. The district should be putting money towards the children from the chaotic home lives. Many of our parents may never be able to challenge those who malign them in meetings such as these. Therefore, in the absence, equity demands that the system assumes the role of advocating on their behalf. Those of us who can will continue to urge the board to openly promote a school system that guarantees true equity for all our children, rather than one that is designed to foster a sense of entitlement for the educational elite. with their flawed definition of equity that only applies to bringing the bottom up and does nothing to help the students that are at the top. We hope that the board will continue to retain a math sequence that gives all students access to the highest quality education available. We anticipate an outcome on this issue that delivers a clear message that equity, not equal treatment, will continue to be our goal, and that our implicit or explicit racism, classism, or elitism will not drive decision-making in SFUSD. Thank you.